Hey Chris, how you doing today? You just finished the Victory Police motorcycle instructor course. How'd that work for you? And with all your years of experience, can you elaborate on what you liked and felt was different experience as a training course goes, compared to other training courses you've been in?
Yeah, it was pretty much completely different from the get-go. Once myself and a beginning officer came out here for the course, we were trying to get everything booked up. The first surprise was when we were trying to book hotel reservations and rental cars and all that kind of stuff. Found out right away we didn't need rental cars because Victor is actually going to loan us and allow us to take the police motorcycles back to the hotel with us back and forth. So that was huge cost savings at a department like that. And pretty much from day one, it was hands down difference between this course and the basic course that I'd gone through a couple years ago. We went through the basic nomenclatures and getting to know the machine really quickly, and it was pretty much in the saddle from that point on. Very little downtime. The actual teaching practices of the instructor were a whole lot more, I guess you could say, user-friendly kind of thing. It wasn't just you were thrown a cone pattern, said this is it, this is how it's done, now do it until you get it kind of thing. It was one that could pick up real quick on the cues of the struggles you were having. And the beauty of it is normally all the cone patterns you're going to have the exact same problems with. Some people either have a throttle issue, some people have a leaning issue, a head and eyes kind of issue, that kind of thing. And they identify it right off the bat, fix it on the easier cone sets. And what surprised me was we had a guy going through our basic course with us, and I'm pretty sure at Mother School I didn't see anybody getting the intersection and such on freaking day 2 and day 3 of this exercise. I was actually envious because myself, I'm a proficient rider now, but it wasn't clicking for me until Monday or Tuesday of week 2, and I'm sitting there stressing because the test is in 48 hours. And this guy was doing the intersection, the keyhole, and he was having the exact same issues that I was having. When he first started off with the slow cones and the offsets, it was just as poor as the performance I was given. He was able to adapt that much quicker because he was getting a lot more one-on-one attention with the instructor real quick. Tips and trade crafts like, hey, you need to do this and this kind of stuff. Whereas the other school, it was they'd see you messing up and they'd kind of hope you kind of teach yourself, how to go about this. It just takes a whole lot longer and just beats the heck out of you over the course of a week.
So how did you like the street aspect of it? We included a lot of street riding and whatnot because we want you to use the bikes as you use them on duty, and we feel that's a very instrumental part of our course.
It was a huge difference and a shock to me. It's the course is almost pretty much like even like a 50-50 deal. Like you're doing your slow cone ridings, which again are crucial to officer safety and all that kind of stuff. It gets you proficient with the machine. But the street riding was impeccable. It basically, I guess it kind of closed the gap between basic motor school and what you're going to be doing, when you go back to your department with your MTO or your FTO for your field training. You're out there, as opposed to doing like lane changes with cones, you're doing lane changes on side streets, highways, interstates. Out there with traffic, you got rush hour, you're dealing with all the different conditions of weather. Obviously in this area, you're dealing with pristine road conditions and then absolute crap road conditions. And that's the kind of stuff that you need to be acclimated with, because that's what you're going to run into when you're working. Logged pretty much a whole lot of miles on the bike. It was from start to finish, you're in the saddle, and that's pretty much all.
Hey John, you just completed the Victory Police Motorcycle Instructor course here in Tucson, Arizona. And looks like you did a lot of riding. Looks like you probably had a pretty good time. And we'd like to know, having just attended, how did this experience compare to other training experiences of any kind that you've had as a police officer over the last 20 plus years?
First part of coming out here, the transition from my department to getting out here was extremely easy. They accommodated as well with the lodging, the curriculum, explaining everything of what we're going to do. The biggest surprise was showing up and seeing a fully outfitted bike. Versus a stripped down, test version or something like that. And this is how the bikes are going to come delivered. That was impressive. And that shows a lot of the company's trust in their product, how safe it is, and how easy it is to operate. And also it's a trust in the operator that, hey, we're going to teach you how to do this and do it properly. And here's lots of equipment.
What'd you think of the attitude of the instructors, how they approached teaching you guys and working with you? What'd you think of that?
Our instructor was J.P. McCardle, wonderful guy. He introduced himself, didn't elaborate as far as, I know everything, y'all know nothing, so sit down and shut up. It was a communication back and forth, got a feel for us, we got a feel for him. We knew what his expectations were, and it made it easier because our guard was down. We were able to get out there and focus strictly on his instructions and what we needed to do. When it came time for praise, it was always there. When it came time for criticisms, they were handled in a very professional way, an adult to an adult kind of deal. And it was always followed by a positive. Yeah, this was right, but maybe try this. So even when you made a mistake, if you knew what it was okay, fix it. And if you didn't, if you had a question for him, he had the answer for it. And it just made the learning environment so much better.
Jason, thanks for attending the Victory Police Motorcycle Training, and we hope you enjoyed your 2 weeks here.
I had a blast.
And we know you're now new as a motor officer. We'd like your thoughts on what you felt about the school, how the instructors were, and how you were treated, and if this is something that we could change, improve upon, maybe recommend. So we'd like you just to elaborate on that.
I had a blast. I was a little worried coming in. I talked to some other officers that have gone to some of the other courses, and it seems like some of those instructors have a sense of pride in failing out some arbitrary percentage of their class. So I was a little worried about it coming in, but came in and we had J.P. McCardle as our instructor, and he was great. As long as you have the ability to ride and are willing to listen to what he says and apply what he says, he's going to do whatever it takes to get you through that school. He's going to teach you, and you're going to learn. Everybody was great here. It was great getting to meet the guys that are actually building the bikes, talking to them, talking to the technicians that are designing these things, them working with you, asking what you like, what you want. Just being out there on the rides, and again, from talking from other officers here, and that they spend 8 hours a day running cones in a parking lot. That's great if you're going to be patrolling a parking lot with cones for the rest of your career, but we would spend part of the day in cones and part of the days out riding on the streets. So it was great to get that experience as well.
Well, being a new officer, you did seem to drop your bike considerably more than anybody else. How was it picking that big beast up?
It's not bad at all with the safety features they have built in, the bars and the bag protectors. The bike doesn't fall all the way over. You keep your feet on the boards. You could basically stay in the saddle, and the bike's going to tip to its point and stop there. So you're not picking it up from the ground. You just come around to whatever side it's leaning towards, and put your butt on the seat, grab the handlebar, and that top box. Because that top box is so secure on the back of the bike there, just grab hold of those and just walk it up.
One of the things that JP's stressed is that all the trainer bikes be fully equipped. Did it help you to have bikes that had the top boxes, the lights, the sirens, pretty much as you're riding a duty bike, ready for the street, ready for duty?
Oh yeah, that was it was a great help because I've been on my Victory at my department for 6 months. So when I came here, there was no difference between the bike I'm operating back at my department and the bike that I was training on as well. Here. So it goes back and makes it easier transition. And with the guy that came from my department for the basic course, when he goes back and I have to do his field training, he's riding identically the exact same bike he just did all his training on. So it's not like, I could do this there, but it was easier because it was 200 pounds lighter. You're not running a motorcycle with no top box and a red and a blue light on the front. You've got the saddlebags full up with all your gear because you're riding a couple hundred miles that day. You've got the top box, the lights, the siren, the radars are mounted up. Everything that you would see, and you get used to, the hand controls kind of thing. It just makes the job as a trainer back at your department that much easier because they're already proficient with the machine that they're going to be riding.
With the component of off-road training that JP provides, do you feel that's a benefit to you as an officer on the street when we take you off-road through the dirt, the sand, the rocks, the gravel, all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, greatly. I mean, it's one, ideally we'd love to just sit there on the highway and run traffic all day long. But if you're anything short of, a highway patrol officer, which the majority of the people I believe are just, local departments, you're going to end up, patrolling your parks and recreation paths. And, you may have, I know in my situation with my departments, we have a lot of emergencies that aren't easily accessible to patrol vehicles. And that was a huge sale pitch with my department was, I'm able to rapidly respond to emergencies on some of our recreational areas, our city parks, wooded trails. There's really not too many places you can't get these bikes. And it's the difference of being told the bike can do this and being shown and being known for yourself like, holy crap, yeah, I just took that up a huge dirt hill, and you learn how to handle it because it's a completely different aspect handling a bike that large off the road as opposed to on.
So I also understand that one of your training days was running the lemon. What did you think of that run?
It was an incredible run. Words, thank goodness we got video of it because words just, you can't express it. You can talk to somebody all day about it, and it does not give you the sense of it. Coming from a smaller bike, this is definitely a larger bike. Can it perform? Can it do all this? On paper, it says it does. But getting on it and doing that, I mean, the confidence in it, it was incredible. And then to put it through the paces on that, to feel the acceleration, the braking, the maneuverability, and the confidence in that bike, it was an incredible ride.
How'd you like dropping it?
Dropping it wasn't a problem. Ride BMWs now. One of the biggest things is you don't want to drop it, because if you do, the chances of damaging the plastic is extremely high. And at the lean angle that you fall, the chances of getting off the bike safely are almost zero. You're either going to get trapped underneath it or you're going for a roll. With the Victory, the fear factor was there of, oh my gosh, I'm going to drop it. And when it went on its side, it was nothing. It was the most least dramatic experience. And it was like, step off, lean down, and it just came right back up.
So you probably picked it up 20, 30 times a day, you think?
Maybe not quite that many, but it was. I'm sure I was pushing 100 for the 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we designed the bike so an officer could easily pick it up without straining their back. We tell a lot of people that it is the heaviest police motorcycle in the world, period. We're proud of that because we add a lot of weight. And the bikes you ran, fully equipped, skid plates, steel bars, steel forged engine guards, all that, top boxes, dual batteries, because that's what you'll run on duty. And you saw picking that bike up, it's to the point now where it looks like guys would rather drop it than put the kickstand down because it's so easy to pick up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were here for a motor school, but I went by the course one day and I saw you running that big old Victory Vision through the patterns. Was I seeing something, or was that actually happening?
No, unfortunately, I'm one of these guys that I want to know, if you give me something, I want to see what it'll do. I want to test its acceleration, its braking, its turning, all of it. And I had the fortunate experience to ride a Vision. Rode it 2 up with my wife and then rode it solo. And those cones were just calling my name. I had to get out there and see if it could do it. And I was stunned at how you forget the dimensions of the bike. And all you focus on is all the techniques that JP and all that had put into us. And that bike was just going through the patterns just as easy as the other one. Actually easier with the less weight on the handlebars with the fixed fairing. And just amazing.
Great. What'd you think of the off-road portion of this riding? You did quite a bit of that from what I've seen of the videos.
Yes, sir. I'm just totally impressed. The amount of torque from the motor, you don't have to get into a lot of throttle, which takes the fear of breaking the back end loose and coming around. The stability of the bike, the suspension, everything. I don't even remember bottoming out. Again, some of it was done 2 up. And when we went off-road, the tires, I mean, you could feel some slippage depending on the surface.
You mean when you were in the snow? I did see a video clip of you and JP riding along a snowy road with snow on it. Was that?
We were in ice, thick ice. And once again, you know, the competitive side of me said, I want to try that. And I got up there, and sure enough, I mean, we came up to the physical limitations. There's no more traction. The bike's slipping, it's going all over it, and I was still able to maintain balance. Bike never went over. There was a few hair-raising moments as it's going sideways and all this, but the bottom line is it made it.
So did you attempt to ride a Victory on ice because you knew if it did fall over, it was just a simple tip and no big deal?
Absolutely, and it wasn't mine, so
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
What'd you think of the road work that you got out of it?
Oh, I love it. I mean, like I said, if you're going to be patrolling parking lots with cones for the rest of your career, then, by all means go to another school. But if you're going to actually be out there on the road, in the traffic, doing all that stuff, then this is a place to be because, we would learn these techniques on the cones, and I won't say perfect them because that takes some time, but, you would get proficient in them and then go out and apply what you've learned in the real world. We went through rush hour traffic. We went through, places where it's wide open, day, night, nice hot weather, cold weather, just different surfaces, all that kind of stuff. So it was great actually getting to apply the stuff that you're learning in a real world environment.
So you got quite a few miles under your belt too on the Victory. How was the comfort of it?
Oh, it's great. Yesterday we, for our final ride, we did over 500 miles, and it was no problem. I mean, it got a little cold at the end, but that has nothing to do with the bike. That was just straight temperature. But I mean, we got off and no soreness, nothing. It was. We could have jumped on and gone another 100 miles if we needed to.
Our course includes both a lot of cone work and the patterns, a lot of off-road work. How do you feel that off-road component plays into your training?
It is a It's a very integral part of motor officer training. The original course that I attended was primarily parking lot, and that's it. And that's very important because it gives you the handling characteristics, and it also lets the instructor know what kind of student they're dealing with. Somebody that's fearful of the bike or somebody that is learning the bike and feels confident on it. The road ride part is what I teach later when the guys come back from it, and it's almost like maybe a month, 2 months of introducing them to the road ride. So that's less downtime, or that's more downtime for the department where they're not a actual working motor officer. With the course that y'all have set up, first day we're on a road ride. And when we're on the road ride, you get to incorporate all the techniques, the turns, the braking, the eye lead, everything that you're doing in the cones and applying it to real world. You've got surface assessment. Here in Arizona, yeah, the roads aren't that great. I mean, there's potholes, there's in the asphalt, there's lines that the tires get into, there's sand. Went right up the Mount Lemmon, there's ice. You know, there's all sorts of things that you have to deal with that you would never know in a pristine parking lot. So you learn these techniques, there's a reason behind them. You know, why do I have to turn within this radius? Well, because that's a turnaround on a violator, and you know the bike will do it. If you have to make a U-turn in traffic to avoid a situation or something, now I know this bike will do it. There's not the fearful of walking it or moving it and all that, putting yourself in jeopardy. The road ride also teaches formation riding, which is very important for motor officers. It teaches you eye lead and also looking at your total surroundings. Heavy traffic, light traffic, watching my speeds, watching the guys beside me and behind me, everything. And you can't get that in a parking lot.
So now are you going to go back and ride stairways all day long at your
It's nice to know that I can do it, but again, for training purposes, I'll do it every now and then just to remain proficient on it. It's just nice to know that if the situation arose that I had to do that in emergency mode, that, yeah, it's a lot easier than parking it and chasing somebody.
With our teaching methods, were they what you expected or better or worse? What did you think about the teaching methods that we use here at Victory Police Motorcycles?
It was a lot better than what I expected because pretty much, what I had been exposed was the course I went through where, the instructors are kind of a trial by fire, like, hey, we're throwing them into the cones, they're either going to learn it, you're either going to walk or fall, and it's your own fault for doing it. They really didn't take any accountability on it. And the instructors in the departments that I train with as well, at certain, we'll have different agencies come together. They're trained at that same school, so they take that same approach. So you notice some guys struggling with certain things, and it's like, yeah, I've been, I hadn't gotten this for 6 months. We're like, well, what the heck? Has nobody pulled you aside and said that you're doing this wrong? I'm like, well, no. Okay, I watched you for 10 seconds, and that was it, and the guy's doing it now. And that's pretty much how the instructor approached it. Was you can tell that they genuinely want you to succeed at it, and it's a direct reflection on them whether you've passed or failed, not nice try and come back, with another check the next time, and we'll put you through 5-6 classes. It doesn't matter to us. It's really they take accountability for their students, and they take a lot of pride in the success that their students have. So,
well, I noticed on part of your course that with the cone patterns that JP threw a few more obstacles in there, such as curbs, tree leaves, like that. How was that?
When I first saw it, when I first assessed the parking lot when we got there, the first thing that I noticed was the grades, in a sense. There's some straight, there's some down and up. From past experience, I know that the bike can accelerate going down the hill, obviously with momentum, which you have to apply more brake or more, so you have to be conscious, and the same as going uphill. A little more throttle, a little less brake, a little less clutch. And as a seasoned rider, I've already been through that. As a new rider, I would have been, what in the heck? Because it messes with your mindset. When I'm first assessing it, I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't try that on the BMW. No, I wouldn't try that turn because I know that front tire would wash out. And got on the Victory, put total faith in the bike, total faith in JP's instructions, and went through it, and just a big grin on my face was watching that bike go over bumps while I'm turning with a layer of leaves.
Yeah, he does a great job of trying to simulate what you're going to see out in the real world because you're not going to be able to pick the surface when you got to do something.
Not at all. And we got to see it all.
Do you feel that the training that you get out of VPM and what we do applies more to what you're going to see on a work condition type environment as opposed to a controlled environment?
Without a doubt. I mean, starting again with the bike. The bike is fully outfitted. And I don't mean with lights. I mean, you got your top box that's filled. I had a stalker radar mounted on my bike. I had an additional takedown light put on there. I mean, it was fully equipped. So right off the bat, you've got that. As soon as we took off to the streets, it was formation riding. We went through intersections, we went on highway, we went on off-road, we went 2-lane roads with twisties and everything, every type of surface assessment there was. And then go back to the cones, practice again, go back out and do the ride. It was a good combination.
What do you think we could change in the course to make it better, especially for a new rider?
I really don't know anything that needs to be changed. It's great having a small class size, because you're not sitting waiting in line for 20 minutes to run a cone course that's going to take 30 seconds to do, and then get back in line and wait to do it again. You're actually out there doing the stuff. If there are any issues, the instructors, they're not having to look over 30 people to try to figure out who's having a problem. They're able to get with you and help correct whatever issues you may have. I like the combination of the road and the cones. Even some of the off-road stuff, getting out, sand, dirt, going up and down stairs. I've been riding personally for 18 years, and in less than pristine conditions, dirt roads, whatever, I'd be going really slow. Maybe even have my foot down, just to kind of help do it. Now it's no problem. Before I would have never considered taking a motorcycle up and down stairs. Now we look at stairs going, ooh, those would be fun to do. But it's great. I mean, just you learn, and you're not just learning to run a cone course. You're learning to make that motorcycle do what you want it to do.
So your department is switching up to victories now. What is your confidence level now getting the victories as opposed to prior to the last 2 weeks?
Through the roof. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Coming from a sport tour, you do get that acceleration part. You do get addicted to it, and the ability to just flat out and go. But the sacrifice is safety and comfort. And while comfort may not be a big deal, you put 8 to 10 hours on a bike, it does later, and the longevity of your motor officer. The victory, my concern was, it may be comfortable, but I can't do my job on it. That is gone. It's totally misled. You jump on that bike, it'll do the turns. It accelerates very well, stops extremely well. And at the end of the day, one of our extensive road rides, nothing. Not an ache, not a pain, not a stretch.
I noticed on one of your rides you were pushing 600-mile days and stuff.
Pretty close. It was amazing.
And you were comfortable?
I was comfortable the whole time, temperature aside, but that's not the victory's fault. But that was, even then, it was, the ride itself was comfortable. Dressed it a little more appropriately, that wouldn't have been an issue either. And it was just, the time just went by. I had no idea the duration until you stopped, looked at the time, and went, no way. Or the mileage. Next thing you know, you're full tank. Next thing you know, we're stopping for fuel. The time just went by.
So what'd you think of the victories out of the hole power to get onto a violator right now?
It'll do it. For a big old bike, it'll do it. And it's one of those to where traditionally V-twins have not been well known as the strong accelerators or anything like that. Victory's changed all that. I mean, it's the 106 motor, the 97 horsepower. It puts it to the ground and it goes, and you go with confidence.
We often hear comments from students such as yourself, I'm buying one of these victories. Why is that?
That has got to be one of the experiences. Again, when you look at a bike, you have to know a style that you want. And once you get that particular style, Victory has everything covered with that. Well, then you add in the comfort factor. When you're riding long distances, the comfort has to be there. If it's not fun to ride, if it's not comfortable to ride, you're not going to ride it. It'll just sit in your garage. And I've tried different types of personal bikes, never rode for long distances. Getting on these Victory police bikes, I put more miles on those in this 2 weeks than I have on my personal bike in the last 2 or 3 months. And again, it's a comfort level. The Vision itself, you can't even talk about how comfortable it is. I mean, it is just the Cadillac of bikes. You sit on it, you're comfortable, you get going, and the miles just go away. And you just got nothing but beautiful scenery around you.
Well, we appreciate you coming to our school. We thank you, and we look forward to having you on Victories in your department here in the near future.